I started first in the travel industry, and then I moved into the more specialized in the meetings industry, because I found out how important it was in terms of expenditure and spillover to the communities, focusing on this more profitable business than what the meetings and the incentive side of the business. So when I found that out, I decided, I want to push this within the government so they can really realize and invest money in this industry. So it was like natural. It flew from the leisure to the meetings, and then I just really got in love with this industry.
If I was to describe Eduardo in one word, the word I would use would be generous.
If I was asked to describe Eduardo in one word, I'd have to cheat and say, could I have 2 words, please? And my 2 words would be Mr. Mexico. And why? Because he's so committed, dedicated, passionate about his country. He's clocked up air miles traveling all around the globe to promote Mexico and build partnerships for and on behalf of Mexico with the industry all over the world.
If it were only for me, I would have been maybe in the music and piano and singing atmosphere, because I love that environment. However, it is not very profitable. So I may have stayed in the family business, which is restaurants.
You know, after a long working day, I've had the pleasure of being with Eduardo in the evening, and the funniest thing I remember is that he just absolutely took over a piano and dominated and got everybody to come in and had his own little karaoke in both Spanish and English.
I used to run several food outlets in Mexico City and in Zacatecas, which is one of the little towns in which we lived. So maybe if the governor in that case of the state of Zacatecas wouldn't have called me wouldn't have appointed me as a minister of tourism of that state, I would have stayed selling delicious Mexican food.
He really impressed me because, as usual, he was a defender of his country. He was very proud of being Mexican, and he was trying to put Mexico at the top with the meeting industry.
He put the meetings industry in Mexico on the map. The contribution that Eduardo has made is really taking Mexico from being a well-known tourism destination to having people recognize that it's also a great meetings destination, and really trying to help Mexico elevate their game in terms of the meetings business.
I've known a lot of passionate people throughout my career, but Eduardo stands out. His passion runs deep. You know, it's not just about our industry for Eduardo. It's really about the people of Mexico. He knows that the work he does directly affects the standard of living and the livelihood of so many people in his native country. In my book, that's incredible, remarkable, authentic passion.
I would describe Eduardo as unselfish. The gentleman has done great things for PCMA and MPI and IAE and many other organizations across Mexico and Latin America.
And it was very, very telling that when I arrived for the conference, where there was a lot of advocacy work going on, there were the leaders from ASAE, SITE, MPI, PCMA. Everybody turned up. And to be honest, they turned up because Eduardo said, please come. And I think that sort of power of relationship building is very, very telling. And I was pleased to support him. I was pleased to support Mexico. And I thought it was a great example of the power of the networks within our industry.
I think that Eduardo has set an excellent example of not only representing a country, which in itself is pretty impressive, but in focusing on globalization and the need for us as an industry to think globally. And that to me is something that Eduardo has never let up on, and has indeed pushed forward within the meetings industry.
With all the associations around the world that belongs to the industry, to make Mexico participate on them, and said, we are not only tequila people, we are professional people. I think that's the legacy. He works on that, quality, service, quality on services, professionalism, And that, I think that's the big legacy of him, putting Mexico in the map as a professionalism destination.
When Mexico was suffering from the outbreak of the H1N1 flu scare, which was being driven by a very, very vociferous media campaign, Eduardo sent out a message to industry leaders to say, please come to Mexico, please tell the world the truth of what is going on in the country and give a realistic viewpoint of how widespread this is and how impactful it is.
And I wanted to get to know a little bit more about him, so I did a Google search. I put in Eduardo Chaillo, and there were 33,400 individual results. And the first one was his LinkedIn page, the second was his Twitter feed, no surprise. And I searched through pages and pages and pages, and all of the pages I saw were all about Eduardo Chaillo from Mexico, our Eduardo. So that leads me to conclude that I was right, and he is very much a unique, special person.
For his contribution worldwide to this industry over many years, he's been a great supporter. He attends events worldwide. I know of no one who attends more events than he does. And for that and the help he gives to others, he deserves to be inducted into the Hall of Leaders.
He's a gentleman. He represents Mexico so very well. He represents the media industry so very well. And he's just a very, very nice man.
I'm really very happy to be part of this family, and I want to continue working very hard to build bridges between the Americas.